By every standard of logic, this video should not exist. Aside from my literal inability to complete the tasks I set forward in this video, actual smoke came out of the front of my PC when I went to edit it.
It smells not good.
For years I've had this idea, and I was so naive to the challenges I would face that I actually attempted it. And every step of the way felt like an insurmountable, unaccomplishable goal, like a literal impossible dream. And I knew it would be hard, and I knew it would be expensive, but it ended up being much, much more than that.
I'm deathly terrified of wasps. Like, embarrassingly afraid. I see one coming, I'm running, dude, bobbing and weaving, start vibrating, bro, I'm gonna die. I actually have an eye floater in this eye. I'm just walking down the street, nice sunny day, I see the eye floater, I'm out of the way, man. I'm like, that was a wasp. So I just look dumb, I'm just flinching. So when I was a kid, I just wanted to stay inside, play video games. I don't go outside, there's bugs out there, man. And I got cracked at FPS games. I can't. I'm telling you, like egg over a pan at 7 a.m. cracked.
I really have no idea.
At FPS games. Okay, I'm slightly above average. Slightly above average is the proper term. Thing is though, my mom would only let me play 30 minutes a day. Ticked! 30 minutes a day! I was forced to go outside against my will into the great outdoors. So I had to get creative. I actually at one point would get an airsoft gun, sit on the porch and shoot at an anthill. Could pick the ants off one by one. It was very fun. Now I was still terrified. I'd run around like a little dingus and play hide and go seek with my buddies, just still scared. Luckily sometimes I would, get distracted or forget about it for a little while, but I was terrified. The fear of the pain of getting stung was intense. I was intensely scared. And I was so dumb. I didn't know I could tell someone that I was this scared. I wasn't smart enough to grab a can of Raid. I was so dumb. My chess rating is 100. Is 100. Back then, I'd lose to my cat. I'm pretty sure it all stems from when I was playing hide and go seek at my buddy Blake's house. I had to have been like 5 years old. I'm hiding in this little nook between the pool and the fence. Then I hear this sound. It sounds like a helicopter. I look down and my arm is gone, chopped clean off, and I'm dying. I mean, obviously I'm joking, but only partly joking. I run inside crying, dude, goofy looking alien kid. I was an ugly crier, dude, because I was just ugly. My whole arm swells up, dude. It's turning different colors, non-natural colors. Blake's mom's calling my mom. So this video is me taking 3 months of exposure therapy, going to classes, going to therapy. I'm just kidding. That's trash. This video is me taking everything that I know, everything that I've learned and more, from building an engine on the back of a gaming PC to thousands of hours in PUBG, all of my knowledge of computers and hardware, every ounce of my abilities, and things that I never knew I would know. Every fathomable tool available. Spending the most money I've ever spent on a video to build a robot that turns killing wasps into a real-life FPS game. Like a real-life control with mouse and keyboard, have a screen in front of me, murder the wasps. Not to conquer my fear. No, I'm going way further than that. I've never been more concerned that the FBI is going to call me. But not all of this just because of the fear of the pain of getting stung. You see, while my arm was all ballooned up and I'm crying inside, I get told I'm allergic, we might have to go to the hospital, I take a big handful of medication and then boom, cuts off. I don't remember a thing after that. You see, I think what happened in that moment as a kid was that the fear of wasps being around me or seeing a wasp became no longer simply the fear of pain, the pain of getting stung. For me, the wasp became the fear of death itself. So, fast forward to AI-infested modern day, and we've just moved to this house, right? Last summer, just wasps all over the trees. I've never seen so many. I call Terminix, I call Orkin, I call all these dudes, and they're just like, oh, sorry, we can knock a nest down, but if we can't find the nest, we can't do much for you. And they sprayed a bunch of repellent, and dude, these wasps were eating the repellent. These are mutant wasps, bro, and they're all through my trees. This is me with version 2.3, let's say, of my real-life video game. 4K 120, because that's what I play video games at. used a gun laser to make sure that the airsoft gun was pointed right at the center reticle of the Sony camera.
Ooh, now that looks sick.
That way the BB would go right in the center. Sort of like an FPS game, goes right where the reticle is. And then I got this second camera on there that's zoomed in, doing slow-mo image stabilization on, so that it gets a nice slow motion picture of the wasp just freaking dying, bro.
That's pretty sick. I like it.
Dead, you know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. I go skadink, skadink, missed. But for the most part, this worked. Like, I was happy with the results of this kind of working. There was one gigantic problem though, and that is that I still had to run away like a loser.
Just pull the trigger and run.
A sweaty loser. I needed a way to remote control it and aim it. That way I wasn't in danger of death. Now, I've used this gimbal before with what's called a Raven Eye. Basically, you can control the gimbal with a controller, and the Raven Eye will send the video feed to your phone. So if I apply the same concept, slap a gun on there, airsoft gun, not a real gun, an airsoft gun, FBI. Remote gaming in real life. Connect that to a Steam Deck, maybe one of them Unreal Air things, so you like really gaming. See, but the problem is I don't play with a controller anymore. I'm bad with a controller. And I had the most poetic solution. One of these little cheating devices people use to cheat in like Call of Duty. I have one because I'm a YouTuber. I'm not a cheater. And it just worked.
Oh my goodness, dude.
And it was really cool. Like, it was a satisfying feeling to use this mouse. There was still like 15 problems though. One, I'd have to walk it out there and place it and die. It has a max rotation speed of 360 degrees per second, which is kind of fast, but if you think about how fast you rotate when flicking in an FPS game, it's really fast. So I was gonna need to go faster than that. Wasps are fast, and we all know the more realistic a game gets, the harder it gets. So this is gonna be tough. I still need to be able to pull the trigger remotely. The mag on the airsoft gun only has 20 rounds before I have to go out there, reload it, and die. And there's actually not like a consumer gimbal on the market right now that can handle the weight of the 2 cameras plus the airsoft gun. And the worst part, it's like 30 FPS with like a full 1,000 milliseconds lag, dude. Latency. That's not gaming. That's a slideshow. I need sub 50 milliseconds of latency or I'm not playing the game. I'm a sweaty tryhard. So that's what I've got to build. Having never built a robot in my life, I embarked on this journey, this adventure to confront, to target my greatest fear. Now, obviously I can't kill every wasp, but I can fight back. The holy war against death.
In order to solve all of these problems and build a real-life FPS game, the robot will consist of 4 main components: a gaming PC for video processing and transmitting, a custom high-speed, high-payload pan-tilt head controlled by a mouse, a servo remote trigger controlled by clicking mouse 1, and an RC cart for all of it to be driven around remotely with a keyboard.
This whole thing is going to be battery powered, so it needs to be as light as possible and as low wattage as possible while still having NVIDIA's dual encoder. I got it all at Micro Center's new location in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is all sponsored by Micro Center.
They usually let me drive the forklift.
They do?
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you a few things about them throughout the video.
They have microfiber cloth. Legendary. Having those on hand, big time.
For this video to not be sponsored and take this long on it, I would need like 20 million views.
If you're a new customer to Micro Center, go in, get $25 off any processor.
So I got the 4070 Ti Super. It's the lowest wattage GPU that'll have the dual encoder. If I'm trying to send 4K 120 over the network wirelessly, one, it needs to be super compressed without losing too much quality, so AV1 encoding. And it needs to be traveling over Wi-Fi 7.
So this is the Wi-Fi 6 card.
To get the sub 50 milliseconds latency that I want in order to not melt.
Try hard. I'm sure we'll find out later what it means by not recommended.
The CPU is a 7800X3D. This is just like the most popular gaming CPU, and it's perfect because it has really low wattage, so it won't suck a bunch of juice out of the battery.
This is what it feels like, getting an insane deal at a Micro Center grand opening.
I needed it to be skinny and low to the ground, and you'll see why. Now, to get a 4K 120 hertz feed, I need a camera that'll do 4K 120. I specifically chose the Sony FX30. When it does 4K 120, it crops in really far. Now, what this will do is it'll give me a very deep depth of field.
Do you have a key to this one? That's the one. What do you think about Amazon.com?
You might have heard like shallow depth of field. People want a really blurry background. Because when you're gaming, when you're playing an FPS game, everything is in focus. Like anything that's close or far away, sometimes there's like a blurring effect around scopes, but otherwise everything is in focus. So I need to mimic that the best that I can.
There it is. Check it out.
And so with that, about 2% of the build is complete, and that ends the list of things that I was confident I could do on my own. Do you hear that sound? The sound of a motor explode. Oh, there it is again. That's the sound of Mr. 100 rating in chess trying to do robotics for the first time.
Broken.
So I need like 20 pounds of camera and airsoft gear to pan and tilt at the speed of almost 1,000 degrees per second.
There's me. What's up?
Which, if you do all the math, comes out to a lot and expensive. What do any of these wires mean? How is there so many wires? And why are gear teeth standards something that I had to become such an expert on? This is a normal pan tilt head used for camera production things.
Let's check max speed. Oh, that's not bad. So this is slower than the gimbal, but has way higher payload.
This is actually the second pan tilt head. The first one is no longer with us.
Kind of dangle him in there.
I had this idea, if I just get stronger, faster motors that have the exact same hole pattern.
Someone might be like, oh, that's not gonna work. Different type of motor. That's really dumb. Might be, bro. Might be, and I'm about to find out.
Then I'll just mount them on there and then just connect it to a Raspberry Pi.
Put that in this bad boy. I don't know what I'm doing.
You know, ask ChatGPT, what do I do? And then my pan tilt head is built, right?
I find this particularly stimulating. Put 24 volts in there, and then we're good to try.
Well, that popping from earlier? That's because I was so dumb, I told ChatGPT wrong.
These two wires, as to the reason it needs to have the encoder is so, or hey, go that way.
I was so wrong that ChatGPT didn't even, everything was wrong.
Position. So it tells the... What do I do next?
These motors have a driver built into them.
I want to control these two motors with the position of the mouse.
And I was also using an external driver.
Tells the encoder how far to move, I think.
It didn't even matter, because they were the wrong motors anyway. At the very first step of my impossible build, everything was wrong and literally making exploding sounds. So I thought, how hard could it be to just find
John Cena.
the correct motors? Well, here's a small list of all the motors you could potentially choose from. 200 ChatGPT prompts later, I'd arrived at this motor.
It looks smaller than I expected, I'm not gonna lie.
The only problem is that the whole pattern definitely was not the same. It was NEMA 17, and the shaft size was different, so my gears weren't gonna fit.
5mm bore, 6mm bore.
Why are there so many wires?
I have no idea what these like 12 wires throughout the back. I don't know what these mean. What does that mean?
I get that like the red and the black are the power, right? Like I'm a tech bro. I know that those are the...
Definitely know what the red and black mean.
Wrong! That's wrong! They're literally not. Like the red is ground, so's the yellow. What is any of that?
I'm in over my head. I'm in over my head.
Why did I do this? I should have given up. I should have made a Reacts video.
Wait, NC? Like Charlotte, North Carolina, where there's a grand opening of Micro Center?
Get the gamer shot right here. Microfiber claw. You carry those on you?
No.
No? Yeah, I carry one on your person at all time. Like one of my top 4 greatest fears is like dying in a really dumb way.
What's your number 1 greatest fear?
Getting this thing actually functioning took so long that they're literally already grand opening another Micro Center in Miami. Which, by the way, even if you don't plan on going, use my link, create an account for free, and then if you do decide to go, you get the free 128GB flash drive. Just getting this thing to move felt like I just struck gold, or like saw a unicorn outside my window.
Oh my goodness. I did it. Now when I press L, it spins.
In just hours and hours of back and forth, I was able to convince this large language model that I needed to know how to make this work.
Oh my goodness. It worked. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's insane.
But with that one simple, trivial success, something happened. Hope, maybe? Or faith that the rest of the project that seemed so far away was actually maybe, just maybe, possible.
And then my computer died. And I'm not talking the one that I built from Micro Center. I'm talking like my main computer I've had for years, that I edit on, that my life runs on, that I provide for my family with. Through like a divinely improbable problem.
Leaking, brothers.
I can't figure out where it was coming from.
You'd think, well, just fix it, right? Yeah.
Plug it in.
I thought that too.
Fine, did plug it in. Let's see what we get on the screen. Configuration. So first,
I ordered a new motherboard,
please.
and it came in broken.
So the whole thing is dinged up and damaged, bro.
I ordered another motherboard, and then I broke it. So I switched to a backup computer, and get this, it was broken.
This is the one that I used while I was in the tent, right?
Truly, I say to you, I was divinely halted from continuing, and my fear grew stronger.
If you go into a Micro Center, please don't do Gollum stance, but please do check out the insane deals they have on seemingly endless amounts of electronics in stock.
Something related to financial insecurity and imposter syndrome probably. And then wasps. I'm allergic, so I just die.
Brothers, I'm finally recording. Look, you can see my hand. And my hand is in the frame. And it's recording and I tested it. And the audio works. Everything works.
The second bit of programming was for the remote trigger for the airsoft gun. Airsoft gun. Not a real gun, the airsoft gun.
So I need it mounted like this.
And if I've yet to make it perfectly clear that I have no idea what I'm doing, this is just this giant table of stuff that I bought when I was doing research for this. So all the motors have different wires. The wires plug into the Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi tells those wires what to do.
So like, how does this even work? Like, what?
I thought that motors, like, at most had 3 wires, right? It's not how it works.
Oh, whoa! Yo! Haha!
I once again gave improper information to ChatGPT.
Oh, it's not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to do that.
See, this motor that I had chosen was a 360-degree servo motor, and ChatGPT was giving me information for a 270-degree servo motor, because there's a difference, and I learned that over the course of a few days here.
Now this is it. Finally, this is it. I know it. I can feel it.
But finally, once again, after persisting, I had achieved my goal.
Oh! Different servo motor. Look. Oh wow, that made it go really slow. What? That's crazy.
I had 2 working Python programs that controlled the necessary motors. Will they work when I put them together? Will they work when I battery power them? Who knows? I sure don't know. The final programming mystery that I had to solve, so I thought, was controlling these 4 motors. It's gotta be remote controlled, it's gotta be able to move. All built together on this card that I built with 2020 extrusion. These motors came in this kit designed for a little RC car, like for 9-year-olds to build. I don't know, genius 9-year-olds. Mark Rober would have scoffed at these motors.
Which, by the way, Micro Center's having some back-to-school sales through August that are insane. Check the links in the description to see all their latest deals.
So I mounted them on here, and they once again have a bunch of stinking wires, man. Why a bunch of stinking different color wires?
Don't know what I'm doing.
And these do need a motor driver, a separate motor driver. Now, since this is gonna be like an FPS game, I needed it to go forward, backward, laterally left and right, and to be able to spin, just like in an FPS game. So I put mechanism wheels on
These
it.
things are kind of plasticky, but I feel like they'll probably do. It'll probably work.
So with these 3 programs and all of this stuff, in theory, I just build it all together, mount it all up, and then I should be good, right? In my brain, that's a real life FPS game. And from the comfort of my own home, I should be able to destroy death.
So as a kid, my family, we didn't have a ton of money. But I always think about how so many good things I think came out of that. One of them being, if I ever wanted to build something or fix something, I wasn't gonna have the right tool. So I had to find a creative solution. It had to be a creative solution.
Is this dumb? I don't know. Maybe. There's no way this works. Everyone's just gonna think I'm dumb if I show this part in the video.
Find a different way to do it. One time, I chopped a tree down with a go-kart. That actually happened. There was this tree and I wanted it cut down, dude. I just rammed it with a go-kart. Nobody would trust me with a saw, dude. Got a little bit of a bloody nose, but the tree was chopped down. I won. I beat that tree.
Actually kind of working. I made my own copper sheath. And one day, this will all be gone.
But they trust me with a go-kart.
I can't believe that worked. I don't know if it destroyed the motor. That's absurd. It just worked. It has now been formed into exactly what I need. I can't believe that worked.
Problem is, as I got older, I got a little bit into a better, financial situation or whatever.
This is the pan tilt head guts.
And I was able to buy proper tools, but I still had like this block in my mind of, you can't do that. Find a different way to do it. Find a creative solution.
There's one drill press there, and then I'll make a stencil for the other ones, and then we'll be good.
And I don't know why, but for so long, I've just like held on to that. And I still don't think it's like totally clicked that like, if you just have the right tool, you can do it. But I feel like I'm growing in that, right? Like if I want to do something, just do the research, ask the dumb questions that you need to ask, swallow your pride, and you can create things that you never thought you were capable of. So easy to make excuses. I don't have the right tools. I can't build that. For me, it's like ChatGPT was the perfect gift of a tool. I don't know if maybe in the future it's gonna destroy us all and like try to implant chips in all of us. Brain control. I don't know. I do know that right now it was the perfect tool.
I'm definitely gonna remember how to assemble all this and not have any trouble getting it back together. Oh!
To learn what I needed to learn to build this lifelong dream that I've had.
Yeah, so now there's new holes there, and now we're gonna see if they fit. So how does this go? Okay, so that's how, okay, the best way to do this is gonna be all of them at once. Like at every step of the way, the odds of it working seem astronomically low, and now I'm like way, way behind. Wow, I don't think it could fit any better. Wow, that's crazy. I did it. It's there. The gears are meshing perfectly. It's like, how did it work? How did it work? I measured this with a piece of paper. If this one also goes on, then I will be the most certain that I've ever been that there is divine play here, that there's something greater than me going on. I think maybe, just maybe. Look, I don't know if this is gonna work, and even if it doesn't work right, I'm proud of this. I like this.
So the next step,
Okay, so that now goes into this.
after spending a few days tearing the whole PC apart and replacing the Wi-Fi card with one that has drivers,
15 years later.
and assembling a 5,000 round drum mag for the airsoft gun, was actually putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Like that. Oh, that's nice.
It kept re-feeling like this was all going to be impossible. Like each little victory temporarily renewed my faith that this thing was gonna shoot death out of the sky.
Literally Iron Man right now. Totally me.
But it would fade, and again, I would just think, there's no way. Like, even if I get the thing put together, it's got 1,000 potential points of failure. The wireless video feed, the wireless mouse and keyboard to the Python programs. Dude, all these wires almost ended my whole career. But this part of just like putting the pieces together was peaceful.
And it's literally dead center.
It shouldn't work. Like it literally shouldn't work.
It was like months and months of work all coming together, and at the very least, it would look cool.
How can I assist you?
Hi, my name is Nick. I am hoping to figure out what it would take to get tested to see if I'm allergic to wasps.
But it was only half the equation. I had to get all 3 of the Python programs to communicate and work together. But it had also been a month since writing the initial programs, so I also had to just like get them working again.
There's the starting angle right there, and then when I click, it goes the wrong direction.
Have I mentioned I don't know what I'm doing? Getting the trigger to work right wasn't super scary and was so satisfying.
Gotta be it. Let's go! Oh my goodness, that pulls the... That's insane, dude. That is sick.
And then the inner child within me, as I successfully got this thing to move like it's mobile.
We're gonna see how it moves. This may just be a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Here it goes, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It started to feel real. The scariest part by far was the pan tilt head, because now it's all assembled together. There's zero room for error.
This is where if it's all gonna go wrong, it's all gonna go wrong.
If I mess up the program and it decides to spin in circles, it would just rip itself
I
apart.
can maybe fight it if I have to, if it's about to tear all the wires
If
out.
I mess something up and it just drives into the wall, then it's over.
Oh my goodness. It's just working. It's literally just working.
This was the exact moment I knew it's actually gonna work. So just a few more minutes.
Days. It's been days.
Days
Okay.
of testing
I'm gonna have to figure something out for that.
and tweaking things and testing and tweaking things and testing. Finally! It was real. It existed. My real life FPS game.
It is currently 16 degrees Celsius, about 62 Fahrenheit in here, feeling great. From the comfort of the inside of my office, I'm playing a first-person shooter in my front yard. See if we can hit the peach. Oh, first shot! Dude, they're sticking in! Oh, that's insane, dude. All right, let's look for wasps.
And then it appeared as though, in the months I spent creating this, death had fled from me. Fear was nowhere to be found, as though it had already been defeated. All this time, and all this bait, all this setup, and there were no stinking wasps, dude. Why are there no wasps? Why? Now, I know they're up in the tree, like I can see them flying around in there, but they wouldn't take my bait, dude. Like, how smart are these wasps? So I had to take it back to this original spot. My backyard, where the wasps are always flying in the trees.
Babies are sleeping, and daddy's hungry wasps.
But because they're flying in the trees,
That looks insane.
it's an incredibly hard shot. So am I actually that cracked at FPS games?
Actually, does that play pretty good? They're so This is our home, baby. I defend it.
To be honest, I don't know if I killed it. I'm still not positive. This is like the world's most ultra-hardcore video game without any hit markers to have ever existed. But it didn't matter. Whether I killed 1,000 wasps or just one, in this moment, my goal had been accomplished. I had done it. It really happened. I was staring death in the face. My wife was watching. I did it. It really existed. And after just 30 minutes of gameplay, the battery died, and I was done for the day. But I didn't come all this way, make a 30-minute video to make you watch me kill maybe one wasp.
So I got tested to see if I was actually allergic to wasps. 16 needles with a bunch of different types of venom.
There's this story about how they used to build bridges, and people would die when they built the bridges. It was to be expected.
My second greatest fear. Needles.
So they started putting nets underneath the bridge. That way, if anyone fell, instead of dying, they would just be caught. And what they found is that when the net was there, and people knew it was there, less people fell from the bridge.
I was scared to death this entire time, and I'm not even allergic. 24 years, I thought I was deathly allergic to wasps. You mean to tell me I didn't have to be scared of death, ever?
So I ask you, if you didn't have to fear failure, if you didn't have to fear death, if you had all the right tools, and you mustered up the courage to try, what would you accomplish?
Just passing through.